Let's now welcome on board Anand Agarwal, the CFO at v-mart, and talk about how their quarter has been and what's the visibility going forward. Anand, hi, morning. Good to have you on the show. What a turnaround quarter it's been. Congratulations on your numbers. You've clearly seen good growth in revenue, footfalls, etc. Tell me, what's the demand trend like for the next quarter? Do you see it continuing with the same kind of momentum?
Yeah, hi, good morning. Yes, I believe that the demand trend should continue. There's been a lull of almost 2, 3 years in the last, post-COVID session, and I think the rural recovery was just around the corner. We are definitely seeing some better traction coming in from almost all parts of the country, especially tier 3, tier 4 towns, which is where we specialize in and where we had seen the maximum amount of pain for the last 2, 3 years, has seen some amount of recovery. The onset of the monsoon also has been very good, and I think this demand momentum should definitely continue. It should also, be highlighted that it comes on a weak base of last year. At least last 2 years were not so good for us, and thereby the growth definitely should look, slightly better.
Okay. So are you saying that this entire theory, what everybody has about rural recovery not being great, that's actually not the ground reality and that's not been your experience?
I would not say that it's not been great. I think we are definitely seeing some betterment. It's not still back to what we used to see at least 2, 3, or 4 years back. But definitely relative to what we have gone through in the last 2 years, it is definitely more promising. The fact it's not just about the external environment or the rural recovery. I think the fact is that we have been doing a lot of work. We have been changing a lot of things. We have been plugging in a lot of holes, and that also is helping us perform better. So it's not just the macro or the external factors which is driving growth for us. It's also a lot of internal work which has gone through and which has started to yield some sort of results.
So tell me, you did see unlimited store count addition. Sorry, I beg your pardon. What your average selling price was, as I understand, that's declined for v-mart as well as unlimited, right? Was this because of higher discounts that you were actually doling out, or were there any price cuts that you had undertaken? And then what really happens to your average store selling price going forward? Is there a ballpark range that you have in mind?
So the average selling prices have actually, sort of stabilized now. In fact, we had taken significant amount of price cuts last year and even before that. So from our perspective, we are already done with our price corrections, and the slight decrease in the average selling price that we see in this quarter is more because of a mix change, because one must realize that there were almost zero weddings in this quarter, and because of which the slightly higher priced wedding merchandise does not get too much into demand. So that has slightly dampened the average selling prices, at least in North and East India. As far as South India is concerned, we have definitely been consciously been reducing our average selling prices. We've been offering more value to the customers. We are opening newer stores in smaller towns which have more lower price, requiring customers, and thereby we are driving more of volume growth, and thereby looking at slightly betterment in the average selling prices in terms of reduction. But going forward, I do not sense, I do not see that there should be any significant or major more price reductions in the offering. We are already done with most of our price corrections, and whatever changes that we will see going forward will largely come from mix and the product changes.
Right. And I also wanted to understand a little bit more about what your targets are when it comes to margins. You're talking about volume growth picking up. So can we then assume that your margins will sustain at the 13% level, or will even further expand from those levels?
So this is quarter 1 numbers, but on a full year basis, I think we should definitely better what we did last year in terms of EBITDA as well as the net margins. Last year was a loss-making year. Given the fact that we are significantly, ramping up our V-Mart profitability and operations, similarly in the unlimited space, unlimited brand space, we've also, closed a lot of loss-making stores. So we should see some margin improvement, but at the same time, being a value retailer, we always want to give better pricing, more value to the customer so that we can increase our volumes. So we will still focus on our standard strategy of increasing volumes, increasing growth through numbers, not so much as percentage margins. So we will see expansion in rupee margins, may not be very high in the percentage-led margins.
Okay. So in terms of large fashion versus non-fashion growth which is coming in, where do you see things are really changing for you?
Not really. We've always, maintained a very healthy mix of fashion-led growth. So in fact, 80% of our business comes in from apparel. In fact, the balance 20% also 10% of that comes in from fashion-related accessories, and only 10% is FMCG business. And this quarter also, I think the large, there's been no material change in that mix, 1 or 2% here or there. So largely our focus has been on selling fashion, and that is where we try to give the maximum value and increase volumes through growth. So going forward also our strategy is going to remain the same. We will continue to keep focusing on apparel-led fashion growth, and that is where all our expertise lies.
Okay, fair enough. And what is the store opening strategy that you can leave us with? What kind of geographies and what's the target that you're looking at?
So we should be looking at opening roughly around 50 odd stores this year. I think we are quite well on track of reaching that number. The geographies will remain pan-India. So we are not looking particularly at disturbing any one particular geography or expanding more in any one particular zone. We are looking at all the zones. Maybe there is a slightly higher focus on South and East India. That's because we have largely been still not been able to penetrate as much in these two geographies. But otherwise, from a company perspective, we will be looking at all-round growth for all the states and all the regions put together.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining in. That's word coming in from the management of V-Mart, talking about how the demand trend will continue in Q2 and margin improvement can be witnessed in FY25.